Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to track changes in ETF constituents on a daily basis. So I've created a tutorial previously on how to download the spreadsheets from Spiders, iShares, and Invesco, which kind of summarizes the daily activity for each ETF. So in today's video, I'm going to pick iShares, but you can ideally do this with the other ETF venues. So what that script does is it goes in every day and it downloads all the positions, which for the most part include the weight and the number of shares for each of the stocks inside of the ETF. So what we're looking at is a file folder for the iShares venue, which includes all the changes. And what I've learned from the data downloads is that it's always a day behind. So whenever you download these, you'll always get the data for the previous day. So let's go into our Markdown. And we're going to go ahead and require these packages. Whatever venue you choose, make sure that the ETF belongs to that venue. So for iShares, we're going to pick IVV, and we're going to list all those files from the folder I just showed you, and we're only going to subset to do April since it does take a while to bring in the data into RStudio. After we have listed those files, we're going to use lapply and pass them in as a list, and for each of the files we're going to read them in. We're only going to subset to the ETF we chose, which is IVV, and since we have several columns, we're going to subset to the most pertinent ones that we need, which are listed here in line 26. We're going to remove any duplicates just in case, and we're going to fix the quantities to make sure that these are numeric, and we're going to combine everything into a single data frame. So let's go ahead and take a look at that data frame. So there's plenty of things you could do with this data, but we're only going to focus on the weight and the quantity changes. But as you see, we have the ticker, the company name, what sector it belongs to, the market value, the percentage weight inside of the ETF, the quantity or number of shares, the price, which is just the close on that particular day, the number of shares outstanding for this ETF, and then the ETF ticker symbol. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this table and we're going to create a function that will summarize it by stock. So we're going to pass in that data frame, and you could decide if you want to summarize it by the number of shares or by its weight. So depending on what you choose, it's going to group by ticker, and we're going to reframe or summarize to include the date, the total number of shares by date, the daily changes in shares, and then the cumulative sum. And since we're only doing April, we're only going to get data starting from April 1st. And in the next block, we're going to go ahead and test our function. So in my particular case, I wanted to subset to only the stocks inside of the ETF. I did not want to include any cash positions, treasury positions, or anything that wasn't a stock that belonged inside of the ETF. And to remove them, you just run line 77 through 80. Now we're going to extract the summary by shares and weight. And let's take a look at both of these. So by share and by weight. So we get a nice summary by ticker symbol. So if we go to a random ticker here, we get all the changes by weight for Google. And if we also view by share, which is pretty much the same thing, we can type in any ticker inside of the IVV ETF, and we can see the cumulative change since the start of April. So in this particular case, we have seen quite the outflow or dumping of shares for Microsoft, but let's find out the largest cumulative change and what day it occurred. So in the next block, if you run lines 93 and 94, you get the largest and smallest change by the cumulative change, and this is by shares. So we see that the largest change was for Nvidia on 4/3, and it looks like IVV purchased approximately 418,000 shares. And if we check by min, so the smallest was also for Nvidia on 4/23, and it got rid of about 7.7 million shares. And we could also do the same thing but by weight. And if we check the largest, which was Nvidia on 4.9, it looks like the percentage weighting inside of this ETF increased by 4 basis points, while the smallest was for Apple on 4.8, which decreased to almost -1%. And now that we have our summaries by weight and shares, we can also plot these. So here we see the cumulative share change for Tesla, which has dropped almost by 1 million shares just this month. And if we take a look at the plot for the weight, for the most part it's down to only 3 basis points. So here I just multiplied the cumulative change by 100, so 0.05 is actually 0.05%. So as I mentioned, by downloading these files from the venues on a daily basis, we can now track changes and do other things with the data. And with that, guys, this concludes the video. I hope this was useful information. I'll leave a link down in the description area to my Patreon where you can find this script. Please consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.